Very confident going into this game, publicly so, but he's had some problems at the selection table with injuries and suspensions. Good news for him is the return to goal-scoring form in a big way of Pablo Cardozo. 6 goals in his last 6 games. He starts at the sharp end tonight alongside young Greg Owens, and what a talented midfield behind them with Halpin joined by Krešimir Marušić, 2 of the most gifted ball players in the country. Game 1 of a 2-game series between these two sides. There's the referee, as we've said, Mark Shield from Brisbane and Queensland. The return leg of the elimination final will be played at Marconi Stadium next Sunday night. And a glance to the heavens there by the referee as the clouds begin to open up once again. Good conditions for players, not so good perhaps for spectators. The gallery somewhat smaller than most had expected. Of course, the state of origin may have something to do with that as well. It's Marconi who get the elimination final underway. A big game for them. Olympics certainly Paul Wade the favourites, but finals football, Marconi have a lot of big match experience in their side.
Well, when you score as many goals as Pablo Cardozo has, and they haven't got the same on the other side at Marconi, you'd probably have to put them in front. Marconi have got a very tight defence, as we've been already noting, but you can't defend for 90 minutes. You've got to go and score a goal at the other end, and their only outlet, I believe, is maybe Krešimir.
So Elias Augerinos has made a miraculous recovery from a knee injury to take his place on the left-hand side of this Olympic back line. Baillie, Juric and Paul Kohler are the defensive trio. And on the right-hand side, Andy Packer has made the switch in the absence of Lindsay Wilson, out of course through injury for the remainder of the season. And Andy Harper, Branko, Čulina, the first to admit that his side will miss Lindsay Wilson in a big way.
Well, Lindsay made it through to the international standard this year, representing Australia at the Oceania playoffs recently, and rightly so. He's had a fantastic season to date. Unfortunately, that injury will thwart his inclusion in the final series, and a huge loss, as you said quite correctly, for Sydney Olympic.
Baillie on the ball for Olympic. Marconi have Tome and Trajanovski as the front two. Of course, both of those players, long-time teammates at Sydney Olympic. They've made the switch across town to Bosley Park, and they now wear the colours of Marconi Stallions. Renault takes the throw quickly, looking for Tome. Kohler was in there first. He clears his lines. It gets as far as Greg Owens, who is shadowed all the way by Longo. Shoulder to shoulder there between Halpin and Gibson. The referee says play on. This time though the whistle blows. It's Longo's challenge which earns Olympic the free kick. Young Greg Owens, a first taste of finals football for him and Paul Wade. They talk about it all the time, the difference between the regular season and the finals. Greg Owens is about to find out what everyone's been talking about all this time.
Oh yeah, look, the intensity is that much. Well, it's the pressure, the intensity, it all lifts a cog or two.
Augerinos escapes down the left, and on the far side, Packer puts it back in. The opening goal to Sydney Olympic, it's Cardozo on target. And Olympic take an early lead. Well, credit there to Elias Augerinos, who created the opening down that left-hand side. The cross into the middle created all sorts of problems, and Cardozo continues his hot streak in front of goals.
Well, they talk about the intensity, and the one mistake might cost you. Well, this just might be it. Just pinged on the far side, nobody picking up the most dangerous man on the park, Pablo Cardozo, and they've paid the price. That's what finals football is all about. Well done, Andy Packer.
Just the start that Branko Čulina was looking for. Marconi, of course, as we say so often, have had trouble scoring goals. They now have to chase the game to a degree. 3 minutes in, Olympic with their noses in front. And a big test of character now for Marconi. That will settle the nerves in the Sydney Olympic lineup. The two wide players involved in the goal, Augerinos initially, Packer, who was ghosting in on that far side, did well. A slip from Brendan Reno proves to be crucial. And Pablo Cardozo, goal number 7 in his last 7 games. And he is proving to be the money man for Sydney Olympic. And that goal, I might add, has now made Pablo Cardozo the all-time leading goal scorer for Sydney Olympic. As Maizano tests Clint Bolton with a stinging drive. There's Pablo Cardozo, the new all-time leading goal scorer for Sydney Olympic, taking over the mantle held by Norman Tomei, who of course is in the Marconi lineup tonight. Goutzioulis, now Maizano, Tomei, and Kohler has been caught there by Norman Tomei, still feeling the effects. Here's Packer. Inside was Cardozo. Packer continuing to offer himself. Owens, can he get the better of the Marconi defence? No, he can't. It was Babic with a strong challenge. Now Augerinos. And that was going to be a corner. Jamie Afkos beaten once by Augerinos already this evening. Knows by now he's going to have his hands full. The first corner of the game to be taken by Troy Halpin. David Aceski in the post for Marconi. Deep corner from Halpin, and it's just cleared the frame of the goal. So Andy Harper, the perfect start for Sydney Olympic.
Wonderful start. Good atmosphere despite the relatively poor numbers who've turned up for whatever reason tonight, but whoever's come, they're full of voice, and it's been a great start from Sydney Olympic. Down the left-hand side, Augerinos has been prominent already, and he's given James Afkos 1 or 2 headaches. Great start for Olympic, good start to the game.
Troy Halpin seeing a lot of the ball early on. Augerinos almost played him in. It was good cover there from Mark Babic. Marušić. Augerinos goes back to Paul Kohler, who seems to have shaken off the knock he took a few minutes ago. Juric goes back to the goalkeeper, Clint Bolton, who takes his time with the clearance. It came off Norman Tomei, or seemingly came off. In fact, it was Chris Trajanovski. The throw awarded to Marconi. The referee has overruled his assistant. By the looks of things, it will be a throw to Sydney Olympic. Well, Clint Bolton, by his own very high standards, has had a disappointing couple of games since returning from Socceroo duty. He says these are the games that every player looks forward to, the final series. It's when the pressure is at its highest. It's when I enjoy them the most. He is, of course, a championship winner with the Brisbane Strikers 3 seasons ago. And Sydney Olympic, of course, made a good fist of their finals appearance 12 months ago, eventually going out of the competition to Carlton with a golden goal at Olympic Park. And Paul Wade, if you're looking for a difference between that Olympic combination and this, perhaps it is in between goals, where Clint Bolton is now the undisputed number 1.
There's no doubt about that. You always need a great goalkeeper if you're going to win the championship, and they have gone a step further. It is the worst run that they've had, Sydney Olympic, all season, and the likeness between this season and that last season might just be that. They did seem to fall over towards the end of last season. They were ruling the roost for a long period there, and then just couldn't go all the way.
Goutzioulis. Augerinos again offering himself down the left, closed down by Afkos. Kohler has his clearance blocked by Maizano. And again Maizano in quickly. Well, he has won his way back into the starting 11, John Maizano. An accomplished performance in Brisbane last week. Earned the admiration of his coach, Eddie Krešimir, who feels that after a difficult time, Maizano is now starting to show the form which made him a young Socceroo. The ball across the line, so it will be a throw to Marconi. Krešimir. Krešimir looking for goals tonight for Marconi, who of course, as we've said already, are without their solid striker Archie Thompson. He has to serve the second game of his 2-game suspension. He will be back for the return leg of the elimination final next weekend. The hope, of course, is that Marconi is still in the contest. Maizano has escaped his marker to the byline, earns the corner. John Maizano, the more attacking of Marconi's midfield tonight, the more attacking style of player. Renault swings it into the edge of the 6-yard box, a free header for Baillie. The chase is on for Halpin, who has acres of room. And look at that provision from Troy Halpin. The bounce was difficult though for Marušić, who has to check back. Down the line goes Packer. Across there is Afkos, who's been drawn out of position, and that is a late challenge from Jamie Afkos. And Mark Shield, no hesitation at all. A yellow card for the Marconi wingback Jamie Afkos. The tackle mistimed, and Olympic have the free kick.
It's a treacherous time for Jamie Afkos, isn't it? He was beaten by Augerinos on this left-hand side. Now he's been beaten on the right-hand side. He's probably struggling with the pace of this game, and hopefully he'll get it right in the next 5 or 10 minutes, because if he doesn't, these two wide players will tear him apart.
Danger for Dave Aceski. Troy Halpin over the dead ball for Olympic, I should say. Swings it in, free header for Augerinos, who has somehow put that one wide of the post. Normally you would back Augerinos from there. A very good header of the ball, but Andy Harper, that is a golden opportunity gone to waste.
Great delivery from Halpin, and that's surprising from Elias, because he is such a safe player, and I would have banked most of what I've got on him scoring there, but he'll be more disappointed than anyone else, don't worry. Good start again for Olympic. They're really ramming home their advantage. I think perhaps just on that last free kick, although it was a free kick, would have liked Mark Shields just to hesitate on issuing a yellow card. We're in the finals now, and the tempo's rise a little bit. I think just a little bit more room for error for the players would be appreciated.
Of course, yellow cards accumulated during the home and away rounds have been wiped. At the start of the final series, as Augerinos again looks to get on the end of things for Olympic. Maizano. Tomo has done well to win the header. Support arrives eventually from Brendan Renault, who tries to go outside of Packer and has run out of room. Andy Packer will have no problem switching from left to right in this Sydney Olympic system. More at home indeed on the right-hand side, Andrew Packer, who has been a form player for Olympic over the last or so. Costanzo playing the sweeper tonight for Marconi. Babic chips it down the line, but Juric is there first. He returns the favour. Cardozo with the layoff. Marušić involved. Inside is Halpin. Augerinos looking to play it over to that one straight to the goalkeeper. Well, Andy Harper at this stage, the indications are that neither Troy Halpin or Krešimir Marušić is being man-marked by Marconi.
No, the evidence that we've seen from Eddie Krešimir throughout the season, indeed since he's been coaching in Australia, is that he doesn't often adopt a man-marking role in his lineup, so it's no huge surprise, but they're relishing the space Olympic at the moment. Halpin's having a field day. Inside of the foot, outside of the foot, right and left foot, knocking balls into space. He really looks the part. He's grown with in stature since his move from Perth this season, and the couple of weeks off he's had to rest that ankle seems to have done the trick. He's on fire tonight.
Troy Halpin there with a strong challenge on Gibson. He's up for it, you feel. Troy Halpin, a big match player, loves the big stage. Has been disappointed perhaps with how things have gone over the last month or so, but generally he has been a very good player for Olympic this season. And perhaps Paul Wade, Branko Čulina has played Troy Halpin pretty well psychologically. A lot of conjecture about whether he would play or not. The player himself was not sure going into the game.
I think if you leave it up to a player of his quality and experience and he makes the decision to play, then you know he's going to give 100%. He's not, because he knows exactly what he's going to be up against, and hopefully you wouldn't think that he would put everything on the line knowing that he couldn't do it. So now he's put his hand up and the whole world knows that he's under an injury cloud. I think he's going to rise to the occasion because he's got something to prove, and that's his decision.
Angelo Costanzo returning to the Marconi lineup after serving his suspension. Seen him in midfield for most of the season. He has gone to a more familiar role behind the back two of Longo and Babic. I'm sure Eddie Krešimir would like Costanzo to push himself into midfield when the opportunity arises. 15 minutes gone here at Belmore. It's Olympic 1, Marconi 0, the first leg of the elimination semi-final. Pablo Cardozo, the goal scorer for the home team. Afkos escapes down the right. Will he be quick enough to keep that one in play? In the end, Juric happy to shepherd the ball over the line. Well, 1-0 in the first leg of this elimination final. We can bring you an update from Melbourne, and there is the progress score. Melbourne Knights 0, Perth Glory 0. Too long to go. So a very tight affair down there in Melbourne, Paul Wade, as we had probably expected.
That'll suit Bernstanger, it'll suit all the boys for the Perth Glory. They've been under a little bit of pressure both on and off the park, so if you can get a 0-0 draw at the Melbourne Knights, remember both of their games were tight, 1-1 and 1-0 during the season, they'll be very happy indeed.
Afkos spreading it wide. Trejanovski needs support. Maizano, a few signs that Marconi is just starting to claw their way back into the game here. Marušić there with the free kick, bringing down Brendan Renault. Krešimir Marušić rumoured to be returning to Croatia in the off-season, so perhaps his last few weeks in Australian football during the final series. How long that lasts, of course, is anyone's guess. Good start though at the moment for Olympic. Owens. And the pass towards Packer was the right idea from Greg Owens.
The owner of WAV788, registration plate WAV788.
Well, one thing that really stands out for me is the speed at which Sydney Olympic go at this Marconi defence. They are good when they're organised, but if you hit them very quickly indeed, as the long balls have been coming, then they can be opened up, as we've seen.
Augerinos closed down by Maizano. There's Juric. Thinks about going back to the goalkeeper, but in the end decides against it. The percentage ball up the line. Babic is there first for Marconi. It now breaks for Maizano. Inside is last. And just a clip on the ankles there by Pablo Cardozo earns Marconi the free kick. It's Brendan Renault to swing this ball in towards the penalty spot, I would imagine. Dominic Longo has gone forward and almost deceived there was Clint Bolton. He saw it late, the Olympic goalkeeper. It was Grant Lastoth who may have got the slightest of touches here. And in the end, that's a fine save from the goalkeeper. Corner to Marconi to be taken by John Gibson. Longo is in the thick of things. Mark Babic has gone forward as well. Clint Bolton there, that will do his confidence the world of good. A good, strong take from the goalkeeper.
So there's a perfect example of the quick break. Pablo Cardozo wanted it early, and it was Ante Juric who made the 50-yard run to make sure he could have an option when he got there.
Maizano. Here's Gibson. Tomei. Dispossessed by a strong challenge from Kohler, but it's broken for Gibson. And Johnny Gibson there with a rather crude lunge on his opponent. No reaction from the referee. It was George Goutzioulis who went down under the tackle. Very late indeed from John Gibson. And possibly a bit fortunate to escape without a yellow card there, Paul Wade.
I think the referee realised he was making a genuine attempt for the ball. Yes, he was late, but it's not as if he kicked the player. I think he was genuinely going for the ball, and he just totally mistimed it.
You're a generous man. Juric. The up and under. We'll find Halpin in the left-hand corner. Babic has come out of the middle. That's a teasing ball from Halpin. And in the end it eluded both Cardozo and Packer. The vision of Troy Halpin really is a beauty to behold. He can just see options that so few other players in this competition can recognise. That was the ideal ball in the circumstances from Troy Halpin. And he really is stamping an imprint on this game already. Another corner to Marconi. It's taken by Marušić. Off the line by Aceski. It still hasn't been cleared. In the end, it ricochets around the post. So close to a second there, Sydney Olympic. Ante Juric, a shake of the head. Wonder how the ball stayed out. Marušić once again. This one a bit deeper. And a third consecutive corner for Olympic. The pressure very much on Marconi. Marušić, Owens jumps. And that was going to be a Sydney Olympic throw, so some real pressure on Marconi. Goal now from Olympic. Augerinos gets to the byline. They really have given themselves the ideal start, Sydney Olympic. One goal to show for it, but the pattern of the game suggests it's going to be an encouraging night all round for Sydney Olympic. Marconi have to dig themselves out of this. Swung into the near post by Halpin. Chance for Goutzioulis. And that is another corner. It's come off a Marconi player. I think it was Brendan Renault. The Stallions living dangerously. This time Halpin goes deep. Free header in the end for Babic, but still Marconi unable to get outside their own half. Good run there from Packer, outnumbered eventually by Marconi. Tomei inside is Trajanovski, but it's 1 against 4, and the 4 win out. Perhaps frustration there from Trajanovski in the end. Andy Harper at the moment, Olympic very much on top.
They've had 3 great chances to score. The one they've converted, of course, Augerinos' header, and during that last melee, Ante Juric had a couple of bites of the cherry. And it's one of those games where they have been so much on top.
Chance here again, as Aceski has to come off his line very quickly.
that you wonder if they're going to be able to ram home their advantage. Marconi have half threatened with that flick header from Grant last, and were it not for some great work from Clint Bolton, the score could be level. And it's got all the ingredients, this game. Two big clubs, two local rivals. One team's struggling with form to score goals, the other playing good football without winning. And it's really, the first 20 minutes have really lived up to the billing.
There's 58 times these two clubs have met over the years. Olympic, with 24 wins, 18 draws and 16 losses, have themselves in front in the head-to-head. Of course, history counts for very little. It's form which matters the most, and in that sense, perhaps Olympic favourites going into the game. Cardozo, a stinging shot from Cardozo, who says it came off the goalkeeper. The referee not interested. Did Aceski get a touchdown at his near post? That is certainly the view of Pablo Cardozo. Perhaps the replay will tell the story. Well, maybe it won't.
They're certainly having problems at back three for Marconi, but I think the problems are coming from the fact that players are making runs from midfield. Just
Clint Bolton almost getting into difficulty there. And Norman Tomei, perhaps as surprised as everyone else when the opportunity presented itself. Oh, a few hearts and a few mouths there. Clint Bolton taking a big gamble with that back pass. Baillie. Halpin. Olympic at the moment. A good job of keeping possession, but Packer has handed it back to Marconi. Marzano, though, can't keep it under control. Here's Marušić. Now Goutzioulis, Halpin. Juric goes on the overlap and gets the pass. Onside is Augerinos, whips it into the edge of the area. Owens with the volley. Some half-hearted appeals for a handball by Costanzo. Greg Owens, soon to depart for international duty with the young Socceroos. Interesting contrast, Andy Harper. Greg Owens included by Branko Čulina tonight, even though he is leaving after next week's return leg. On the other side of the coin, Eddie Krešimir deciding against putting Michael Turnbull in goals because he's also leaving for that tournament in Japan. So the two coaches with a different view of the situation. Stay here with Owens for the moment. And eventually that's going to be a free kick to Olympic.
Of course, and across the country, the same situation with Lube Milicevic at Perth. Bernd Stanger has been reticent to play Milicevic, not because he's not worthy of a first starting position, but because he's not sure how long he's going to have him for with these youth international commitments. So it's one that the coaches have shown that they have different views on. Branko Kohler, of course, has given a huge vote of confidence in Greg Owens. Considering he's going to be away, we'll use him as much as we can before he goes and wish him all the best.
A free kick in an encouraging position for Sydney Olympic. David Aceski putting 6 in the wall. This is tailor-made for Troy Halpin. Cardozo and Marušić also very comfortable over the dead ball. A lot of options for Sydney Olympic here as Mark Shield gets the wall back. The requisite distance. Who's it going to be? Marušić, Cardozo or Troy Halpin? It's Krešimir Marušić, he's buried it. What a stroke from Marušić. Olympic extend the lead. Look at me, says Krešimir Marušić. Look what I've done. David Aceski beaten all hands up. A quality goal to set Olympic on the way.
Well, I was watching David Aceski there and I was just wondering, what is he going to do? It's such a deadly distance out from goal. He went one way, he just couldn't pick. That was the corner of the net he was supposed to be marking as Marušić gets a yellow card for taking his shirt off. It was only half a step that he took to his left before he came back to his right, and Marušić took full advantage of it.
Unstoppable, that shot from Krešimir Marušić. No chance for David Aceski, and big problems now for Marconi. Already Krešimir saying during the week that this elimination final will be won over 2 legs. It won't be decided over this 90 minutes, but at the moment, Marconi staring down the barrel. A lot to do, not only for the rest of this game, but in the return leg at Bosley Park next weekend. Afkos. Marušić, the goal scorer, boxed in, outnumbered. Maizano tried to get to the byline. The clearance in the end came from Augerinos. Costanzo chips it forward. The numbers now, Marconi. But Augerinos happy to lump that one up to the halfway line. Longo was under it. Now Halpin to the feet of Greg Owens. Outside of him goes Andy Packer. Cardozo's in the middle. Here's Marušić. Evades first tackle from Longo. Tome inside Goutzioulis, brought down, free kick to Marconi.
Well, Mike, you say Krešimir Marušić is planning to head, or that's a speculation at least, heading back to Croatia. He's been at Olympic this season. His form hasn't been fabulous, not certainly what we'd expect from a player of his pedigree. But whilst we've got him in the country for the rest of this competition, just maybe that free kick will spark some confidence in him, and we can see from Krešimir exactly the sort of quality we've come to expect.
It's a fine goal from Marušić, no question of that. Just his 5th, though, of a rather lean season. Baillie there all over the back of his opponent, Chris Trajanowski. Brendan Reno once again prepared to take the free kick for Marconi. Again, he whips it into the edge of that 6-yard box, but no one this time getting any contact, and a simple save for Clint Bolton. Halpin. Just slowing it down a touch here. Marušić now moves up this left-hand side. Here's Owens. And a shuddering tackle there from Longo. And the Rebels had a good look at it and decided it warrants a yellow card, or does he? And looks as though it's only going to be a talking to for Dominic Longo.
I was reading his lips then. He said, "That wasn't me, that was Mark Babic." So the referee has obviously said, "Mate, I've warned you once before."
So Dominic Longo escapes without a caution, and a sense of deja vu perhaps here for Marconi. Again, Marušić going for the same corner. This time it clears the crossbar. So difficult to defend against from the dead ball for Marconi. Three outstanding options: Cardozo, Halpin and Marušić pull weight, and a nightmare for a goalkeeper. Here's Costanzo. Gibson. 10 minutes left until half-time. It's Sydney Olympic 2, Marconi 0. Costanzo continues his shot, charged down by Paul Kohler. Now breaks for Cardozo. Packer. Crossing cover is Longo. Packer goes inside early. The ball has eluded Greg Owens. Jamie Afkos happy to see that one cross the sideline. I don't know about you, Andy Harper, but it just seems that this Olympic side has a yard of pace on Marconi at the moment.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. They're looking very convincing, certainly in these stages. And after 36 minutes, given the sort of input we've had from Branko and his assistant John Doyle in previous telecasts, I would imagine he'd be reasonably happy with the way they've controlled the pace of the game. Yeah, they've looked like they can outpace Marconi when they break, but they've also looked to kill the game on occasions as well.
Kojanowski, opportunity here for Marconi. Tries to play the ball between two defenders, can't do so. Now Packer has it. Juric. Inside is Halpin. Costanzo pressured by Owens. Costanzo now starting to push forward, as indeed he should given the circumstances. Gibson lines up the shot. Couldn't hit the target. A couple of times now that we've seen Costanzo push forward for Marconi, Paul Wade, and probably the right idea.
It's not a bad idea, is it? They need some momentum. It seems like they're always reacting instead of acting, and part of that is obviously because of Sydney Olympics' total domination. They seem to be enthusiastic going forward. Everybody's willing to run to make space, even if they don't get the ball, and it's hard to take that momentum away. And one way you could do that maybe is by getting an unmarked man like Costanzo to play more of a part when you do get it.
Maizano, Afkos. Space here for Afkos, he plays the ball in early. It breaks now for Tomei. What a chance that was for Norman Tomei. On a ground in which he has scored so many goals over the years, Norman Tomei couldn't bury a gilt-edged opportunity. Well, he should have hit the target from that distance, Norman Tomei. No doubt whatsoever about that.
Well, he's only played, well, started in 6 games. He's come on 9 times as a substitute. Hasn't scored this season, so they say it takes you a while to get your shooting boots on, and it's been a very ordinary season as far as the leading goal scorer, or ex-leading goal scorer at Sydney Olympics concerned.
Juric. Mazzano slips, but Olympic perhaps taking a few risks at the moment. That will not impress the coach, Branko Čulina, particularly just before half-time. Well, ball swirling in the air from Troy Halpin. Baillie. Look how deep Halpin has dropped to retrieve the ball for Sydney Olympic. Afkos. Last. Renault. Longo. Babic's pass is blocked by Owens, but he gets the rebound and then commits a dreadful error. Cardozo picks out Packer, who is very quick to assess the opportunity, but Andy Packer's control was not the best, and in the end he was closed down quickly by Dominic Longo. 5 minutes to go until half-time. It's Olympic 2, Marconi 0. Troy Halpin slips there. Babic shrugs off a challenge. The ball over the top, aimed towards Trajanovski. Falls for Clint Bolton. Well, I don't know what Branko Čulina is saying down there in the dugout, Andy Harper, but a few of these party tricks from Olympic might be causing a few heart flutters.
Branko looks relatively relaxed the way the game's going so far, but there is a little bit in what you're saying, Mike. They want to watch so they don't get too cavalier in their approach. It's one thing to keep possession of the ball for long periods in your own half and try and take the edge off your opponents. It's another to lose respect for your opponents, and you don't want to get punished on those terms.
Maizano. It's Marconi sensing this is their opportunity. Longo. And Brendan Renault taken out from behind by Andy Packer. A free kick to Marconi. Well, a goal before the break would certainly put a different complexion on things. From Marconi, that is. They've been under the pump for most of this first half, but they haven't given up the fight. And it comes from Costanzo. Longo with a looping header. And Clint Bolton somehow picks out a teammate. Well, that's the sort of thing I've been talking about, Paul Wade. It's rather elementary errors. Trajanovski takes a deflection, Augerinos clears.
Yes, it just shows you, I mean, you need a lot of discipline, even when you are playing so well, to keep doing the things well. I mean, the Socceroos belted 31 past American Samoa because they stayed disciplined. It can get totally out of hand and you can only score 19. The same's got to be here. They're dominating, everybody's running, they're all playing at the top of their game, but they've got to keep doing what they were supposed to be doing, and they would have worked that out at training during the week with Branko.
Greg Owens, one of two former Newcastle players in this Sydney Olympic lineup. The other, of course, Troy Halpin. Longo. Baillie was in quickly for Olympic. It's going to be a Marconi throw. Renault in a hurry to get things going. Juric. Clears in a hurry. Now Babic. Afkos does well to shrug off the attentions of Augerinos. Now some space for Gibson. He went down the line towards Trajanovski, picked up by Baillie, and John Gibson just clatters into his opponent. Well, that was the second time in this first half that John Gibson has thrown himself at the ball and the man and anything else in the way.
Yeah, it looks a little bit untidy, doesn't it? John knows it. He knew he was beaten there, so he just left his body in the way.
Well, it might be a cork for Krešimir Marušić. That can be painful. Afkos gets the bounce of the ball. Slight tug on the shirt there by Augerinos. And it was Halpin, the second man in, who brought the opponent to the ground. Owens. To time added on at the end of the first half here at Belmore Oval. It's a pleasing scoreline for the Sydney Olympic fans. Of course, the first of two games in this elimination semi-final. Important to make the most of home advantage. Olympic are doing that at the moment. Halpin. Marušić. Greg Owens. Difficult chance, but he might have done better.
Ladies and gentlemen, the owner of the late Honda with registration plates KAT 285.
Babic looking for the feet of Tomei. Into the handball, Halpin plays it down the line. Cardozo has to chase. Costanzo puts that one over the fence.
Late Honda with registration KAT 285.
Well, it's not gone according to plan for Angelo Costanzo and his Marconi teammates. Policy of containment thrown out the window by that early goal to Sydney Olympic, and now they have to chase the game. Marconi. Glance at the watch there from Mark Shield. Kohler with the header. Halpin, inside is Marušić. Shrugs off the first challenge from Grant last. Well, a positive first half for Sydney Olympic here at Belmore. They got the ideal beginning provided by Pablo Cardozo. Good lead-up work from Elias Augerinos. Andy Packer was also involved. And then a wonderful, wonderful free kick from Krešimir Marušić extended the advantage. So much to do for Marconi Stallions in the second half, and indeed over the remainder of this elimination final series. Branko Čulina gambled on the home leg first, and that gamble looks to have paid off so far. The half-time score at Belmore, Sydney Olympic 2, Marconi Stallions 0.
Wheel Thunder, the World Speedway Grand Prix.
Something could happen here!
Catch the 2001 German Grand Prix with the world's best riders.
Oh, he's down! He's down!
500cc power, over 150 k's an hour, no brakes.
They are going for it.
We head to Berlin for the first Speedway Grand Prix Series event for 2001. Catch the action of the German Grand Prix tonight on C7 Sports. Alpha, Greek-Australian television, brings you current affairs, interviews and highlights.
How intense is your training?
I mean, pre-season's a lot more harder.
Welcome back to Mercedes Fashion Week.
Alpha gives you traditional entertainment, culture, and extensive coverage of special events. Alpha has the excitement and action of sport, both here and overseas, and the very best in Greek cinema, with all your favorite stars. Connect now to Alpha. It's the world you want to see. May, what a month on C7 Sport. AFL.
Lovely mark!
The 2001 Premiership kicks on. Soccer, the National Soccer League Final Series. Hockey, Australia takes on New Zealand. Rugby, the Citibank MasterCard Cup. Cricket, English county action. Golf, the European PGA Tour. XFL, football WWF style. May, C7 Sport.
All the reasons why you love me this way.
Don't know the reason why you're there every day.
But I know when I hold you near, you are the reason I am
The CUB AFL 2001 Premiership season.
Yes, he's got the mark!
Tonight at 11:30, Carlton clash with Collingwood. Two of the game's superstars meet head-on.
Beautiful mark!
The Blues' inspirational impact force Anthony Koutafiti.
He's got it!
Against the Magpies' unpredictable genius Nathan Buckley.
And he's kicked it!
The CUB AFL 2001 Premiership season on C7 Sport.
Look at Chris McCormack's face.
The ultimate event is on again.
And boy, she's in a world of hurt.
The Triathlon Australia Series moves to Mooloolaba, Queensland for a heart-stopping finale.
Look at him scorching up this hill.
Local and international greats sweat it out on the Sunshine Coast. It's grand final test of the fittest. The Australian Olympic Distance Championships taking the world's best to the wall.
And here is an upset.
The St George Triathlon Australia Series. C7 Sport Wednesday.
Well, back to the Belmore Sports Ground, and as the celebrations continue, and they are celebrations, the Olympic fans very, very happy with that first 45 minutes. They lead 2-0 at half-time against Marconi. Well, joining us on the sideline, Andy Harper once again. Andy, as far as Branko Collina is concerned, what would he be saying at half-time? He'd have to be happy.
I think he'd be very happy, Paul. Branko's players have done very well in the first half, a very complete half of football. A couple of murmurs that they might be getting a little too of the mind that they've done the job without having finished the game, but I think that's probably the only thing he'll be giving address to at this stage as we're talking here. I think he'll be very happy with the performance of the players, and he'll be looking to consolidate in the second half, not to give anything away, and if they can, ram home the advantage even further.
Well, he'd have to be very happy with the number of shots on goal. They've certainly peppered the goal as opposed to Marconi.
Look, certainly they've looked far more effective as they've attacked their opponent's goal. They've been more mobile with more pace and a lot more cutting edge to their football. Marconi have threatened on a couple of occasions and nothing more than that, and those bear that out. It's been all Olympic in the first half. The stats bear that out, the scoreboard bears that out, and the flow of the football that we've watched is bear testament to that as well.
What about the Pablo Cardozo goal? Unforgivable to leave a marksman like him free in the 6-yard box.
Yeah, I think the way things unfolded, that the attention was taken away from the Marconi players, and that's how Pablo got free. I think David Aceski perhaps could have done a little better on the cross, and then, well, Brendan Renault slipped over, and you can't account for that sort of thing. That happens sometimes. It was not intentional. It was not poor play. It was just misfortune. Paco rounded the ball up nicely and squared it to Cardozo, who by that time had made himself free, and the score was 1-0 as a result. And 3 minutes in, and Marconi already had a big job on their hands.
Well, speaking of big jobs, I think it might be their midfield that seems to be falling down. They're all over the place. Marušić is playing well, Halpin's playing well. There doesn't seem to be any leadership qualities in the middle of the park.
Well, the way Olympic play the game of football is a lot of mobility all over the field. You'll see Elias Augerinos raiding down the left one side and then popping up down the right-hand side a moment later. And that sort of movement is the case across their lineup through midfield in particular. They're very difficult to trace, and as we said in the call, Eddie Krešimir doesn't often have man-to-man marking jobs, and perhaps the likes of Troy Halpin is one type of play you might like to give special attention to.
What about Elias Augerinos? You want to miss one of them every day of the week, would you? When he had that ball chipped in by Troy Halpin.
Beautiful delivery, and you don't want to miss them, and it's not often that Elias does miss them. He's, as I said during the call, a very safe player, and really that was a bankable commodity, that being 2-0 there. But he's had a good half, Elias, and he's been one of them from Sydney Olympics viewpoint.
What would Eddie Krešimir be saying at half-time?
Well, he's got to reorganise and get some more mobility out of his players, more willingness to play football. It's not as though the players have gone into the game not wanting to play, but the way things have unfolded, they're certainly 2 or 3 yards off the pace. They need a couple of people who are hungry to get the ball and get it regularly, and perhaps to get some more inclusion from the likes of Angelo Costanzo, who we saw on a couple of occasions penetrate through midfield. But they need to get some better service to their front men, and Krešimir and Tomei and that lot need to try and shake their markers a little better. Instead of making straight runs towards the ball, perhaps making runs diagonally and sideways to lose their marker, open up some space for some of their midfielders.
Yeah, they're having a hard time up the front there. Let's have a look at one of the scrambles that happened just before the Marušić goal. It was inside the 18-yard. Great save by Aceski. It just wouldn't hit the back of the net. I think even Pablo Cardozo was part of the defensive problem there. But then have a look at this goal. I thought Aceski moved just a little bit to the left, and then he came back to his right, which was just enough for Marušić.
Look, it was a fabulous free kick. I was very privileged to be sitting right behind the flight of the ball, and it was never going to miss. And Aceski was caught all ends up at full stretch, had no say in stopping the ball at all. It was a wonderful free kick, and it really has given Krešimir Marušić that extra kick of confidence. He came into the game more and more as a result of that, which is good for Olympics' cause, because he's been a little under par of late.
What about Norm Tomei? That's probably really the only chance they've had in this first 45 minutes. He's found it hard with Chris Trajanovski up front, hasn't he?
I think they've been plotted out particularly well, but a little bit of a lapse from Sydney Olympic. Norm Tomei, well, that sort of finish comes from a lack of confidence and a lack of being in that position regularly. You like to be able to practice those a lot in game time, and of course we've talked a lot about the fact that Marconi haven't been in those positions terribly frequently of late, and I think that was the real culprit there. Norm Tomei will bag his share of those when he gets them.
Well, it's not looking good for Marconi, because when Sydney Olympic play the second half, they score more goals than anybody else in the National Soccer League. We'll be back right after this.
From the lush greens of Ireland to the desert sands of Dubai, golf's most international PGA competition reviewed in European Tour Weekly, Thursday night at 6 on C7 Sport. They've played the game. They know the game. Blocker and MG, part of the team on NRL Winners. Live Thursday night on C7 Sport.
You can get it dipping. You can get it chipping. You can get it having a rub. A hard-earned thirst needs a big cold beer. And the best cold beer is Vic. Victoria Bitter. You can get it lumping. You can get it thumping. You can get it any old how. Matter of fact, I got it now. Victoria Bitter.
Live Thursday night at 7:30.
Oh, what about that?
Peter Donegan, Peter Dacos, Mark Harvey, with 90 minutes of must-see TV for every footy fan. They're challenging, probing, never afraid to confront the major issues. And along with Crackers Keenan, they get down and get personal, and sometimes even talk about the football. Keeping you in the picture. Footy Focus, live Thursday night at 7:30, C7 Sport. Trans-Tasman rivalry at its best with the Manning Cup. Thursday night at 10 on C7 Sport. Australia's powerhouse lineup clash with New Zealand in this prestigious international hockey series.
Lined it up and banged it in. Just waiting to bounce. Beautifully taken. Time for the shot. It's in! He's got it past the goalkeeper.
Australia battle New Zealand in the Manning Cup. Thursday night at 10 on C7 Sport.
Back to Belmore Oval, and you would imagine a rather sombre Marconi dressing room during the break. So much to do for the away side in the second half of the first leg of this elimination semi-final. 2 goals to the home team in the opening 45 minutes. After 3 minutes, Pablo Cardozo with a simple conversion from close range, and a much more difficult task before Krešimir Marušić from the dead ball, but he was good enough to rise to the occasion and plant his free kick into the top corner of the net, leaving David Aceski with absolutely no chance. So Sydney Olympic looking good in the elimination final against their old rivals Marconi, as Ante Juric leads the home team back out for the second half. A rather worried look on the expression there of his counterpart Dominic Longo. Marconi came into this game with a policy of containment. It hasn't worked out like that, and Eddie Krešimir and his players forced really to chase the game over the next 45 minutes. A relaxed Olympic team. They were perhaps a bit too relaxed just before the interval, and I would imagine Branko Čulina had a bit to say about that. He is not counting any chickens just yet, the Sydney Olympic coach, as Olympic look to hold on to this 2-goal cushion. Well, some more news from Summer Street. Still no goals in the other elimination final between the Knights and the Glory. And Andrew Marthy, Melbourne Knights coach, saying quite categorically during the week that we must win the home leg if we are to give ourselves a chance. The return leg at Subiaco Oval next weekend, all but sold out. Almost 40,000 people, you would imagine, in for that game. So it's going to be Sydney Olympic to restart proceedings. A glance at the watch from referee Mark Shield. And a spring in the step of the Sydney Olympic players. Marconi, a huge test of character for them. Their season possibly slipping away before their eyes unless they can turn this situation around. Baillie's long ball directed towards Andy Packer, who really did create some problems for Brendan Reno in that first half. Indeed, the two wide players for Olympic, Augerinos and Packer, very much involved. Tomei brings it down in front of Kohler. Norman Tomei up against his former club. The club, of course, where he made his name. The club where he scored so many goals. The all-time goal-scoring record holder for Olympic until tonight. Pablo Cardozo usurping him with that goal after 3 minutes. Sense of irony there. Troy Halpin very much the puppeteer for Olympic in that first half. Here he is on the ball once again. Goutzioulis tries to go down the line. It's been intercepted by Brendan Reno. Vlado Zoric has come on for Marconi as they try to add some creativity to their midfield, and that is going to be a corner early on in the second half for the visiting side. So an interesting change made by Eddie Krešimir. Vlado Zoric, very experienced player, very good on the ball as well. Gibson with the corner in the meantime. Clint Bolton made one good save in that first half. This one goes deep from Gibson. Watched all the way by Bolton. Well, we'll hear the mood from the Olympic camp during half-time. Down on the sideline with Andy Harper, we injured Sydney Olympic defender Lindsay Wilson.
See, from the sideline, you're very impressed with the way your teammates, without your presence, have done really well.
Yeah, I think it's actually the best that we've been playing for a good while now. Branko's, he just wants us not to concede a goal at home, basically, and to take a little more care, finishing off in the last third. But apart from that, he was very happy, hardly talked at half-time.
Unusual for Branko, you were saying. Normally at half-time, there's not enough of a period between halves for him to get all the information across to his players that he likes, but this time he was very subdued. A case from Branko's viewpoint of let the players continue doing what they're doing?
Yeah, that's all right. He just had a few words to a couple of individuals that he thought could have done better in certain areas, but apart from that, he was very happy, quite quiet, and yeah, very happy with the way we're playing. So,
from here on for the rest of the second half, how may he use his bench as the game unfolds? It will depend on what Marconi do and the way the game turns, but from where we're sitting now, what sort of changes do you think he'll make, if any?
I think he's obviously very happy with the boys at the back, and I think Greg and Pabs are doing quite well up front. I think he'll probably alter with Kresh or Halpin as the game goes on. If Halpin's injury is getting to him, I think he'll bring him off. And if Kresh starts to tire because he hasn't played in a while, then obviously he might bring him off as well.
All right, Lindsay, well, thanks for your time. It's a pity for us that we won't be able to see you during the final series, but good luck to you and your teammates.
All right, cheers, Hubs.
That's Krešimir Marušić. If you didn't know, Kresh is his nickname. And what a goal he scored in the first half, Paul Wade. Hasn't been the best of seasons for Krešimir Marušić, but I'm sure very much a confidence player, and I'm sure his confidence will be boosted by a very tidy goal from the free kick.
Well, we're becoming used to it almost now in the National League, aren't we? Goutzioulis, there's three of them that can ping him in the top corner at any given time or from any given distance. It seems to be becoming a bit of a trend that you have at least one free kick specialist to get you out of trouble when you are in it, but Sydney Olympic far from in trouble at the moment.
Cardozo, Halpin. Place now for Marušić, but Gibson will get there first. Now we heard Lindsay Wilson suggest that Troy Halpin may not see the distance as he returns from injury. He really has been the main man for Olympics so far in this game. Troy Halpin. Kohler wins the header, brought down by Augerinos. Down the line is Marušić, who is shrugged off the ball by Jamie Afkos, but his pass takes a deflection, and that's going to be a Marconi throw. Scott Baillie, Paul Kohler and Ante Juric, the defensive trio for Sydney Olympic, really put under a great deal of pressure by Marconi as yet. But perhaps the introduction of Vlado Zorbas might change things. A good change that by Eddie Krešimir, I feel, Paul Wade.
Yeah, I mean, John Maizano was doing all right, but he wasn't, as a midfielder, getting himself involved in the front third, and when the ball was in the middle of the park, he was very, very rarely getting close to his opposite number. So to have Vlado in there, who you just give him the ball and he'll do anything with it.
Well, we might get some more information on the reasons for that change. Down on the sideline with Andy Harper, another injured player. This one is Christian Kerr from Marconi.
Thanks, Mike. Well, Christian, firstly to John Maizano, he picked up a knock in the first half. Is that why he was taken off for Vlado Zorbas?
Yeah, I was just inside the sheds then, and he's copped a knock in the calf. So he's injured, so that's the reason why he's come off.
What else was going on in the dressing rooms at half-time? Is there a feeling from the players that they can get out of this one, or Olympic too good tonight?
Well, basically, I walked in, all the heads were down. Eddie was trying to lift the spirit up a bit, so I think they're lacking something in the midfield tonight, something missing.
On that point then, is Vlado the man? He hasn't played a lot of football recently, certainly this year he hasn't played much, but he's a player of immense technique on the ball now. Is he the man that's going to lift Marconi out of the mire they're in at the moment?
Well, as you know, Vlado is a pretty technical player, and I think he's the one that could do it for us. At least get a goal back for us, at least 1 or 2 goals. So we need a goal out of this game tonight. So.
And yourself, Chris, looking to next week, and of course having Archie Thompson available, the two of you might look for inclusion in the side.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, Archie's definitely going to be up there, but I'm sort of going to have to prove myself during the week to Eddie, and we'll see what happens from there. I mean, I'm pretty much fully fit, so I've just been out of selection for this game today, so we'll see what happens next week.
All right, and on next week, we wish you all the best. Go and enjoy the rest of this half, and to you and your Marconi club, good luck.
No worries, thanks a lot.
Christian Kerr, overlooked by Eddie Krešimir for this game. I would imagine he might be back for the return leg. Here's Zoric. Just possessed by an enthusiastic challenge from Cardozo. Packard gets past Longo, and offside. Well, the flag up against perhaps the player closest to the sideline, which was Greg Owens, was Pablo Cardozo. Offside. Was there a case for passive offside, Paul Wade?
Look, I think he was, to tell you the truth. There's the ball forward, and he was in an offside position. Yes, it did go to the right-hand side, but Pablo was in an offside position as well. He's had a go at the linesman or the assistant referee, but I don't think he's got a case.
There is Archie Thompson, the man who may be able to do it for Marconi next week at Bosley Park. It will be a big ask given the circumstances. to be fair, while he has scored plenty of goals for Australia in the last few weeks, it hasn't been the case with Marconi for Archie Thompson. Very much a goal drought at club level. Here's Packer. He gets past Brendan Renault, whips the ball into the middle. It might break for Marušić, but Gibson is on his shoulder. Marušić goes down. The challenge just on the edge of the area. Is last. This will be a free kick to Olympic. So signs of frustration really from Marconi. It's just not going their way at the moment. They need to find a spark from somewhere. The money's on Vlado Zoric, but can't do it on his own. He's last. Afkos tries to get past Augerinos. Baillie goes back to Juric. Costanzo. Inside is Dominic Longo. Longo again. Andy Harper, an impressive feature of this Olympic performance, among many impressive features, has been the work rate of the likes of Cardozo, Halpin and Marušić, players who we're probably used to seeing take a bit of a breather when the ball's not coming their way. Tonight they have done a power of work off the ball as well.
Well, you get the sense that they're really in the mood, the Marconi, the Olympic team tonight, and those players that you mentioned epitomise that, the work rate, the freshness, the desire to get into a space to receive the ball.
Renault overhits the cross, well and truly.
Have all been outstanding features of the game, and whether or not that was offside, doesn't that little finish from Pablo Cardozo, the last incident, which was a disallowed goal, doesn't that highlight the quality that he's hitting at the moment? I mean, we know he's a fabulous player. He's the top goal scorer in Olympics history. Had a slow start to his return to Australia. He's been gaining ominous momentum of late, and what a beautiful little chip over the advancing Aceski. And but for it being offside, what a great goal it would have been.
Grant last with the header in midfield for Marconi. They need to get a break of the ball here, the Stallions. Tomei forced wide by Kohler. In the middle is Gibson. Trajanovski's there as well. Here's Zoric. Gibson. Tomei. Teasing cross. Crucial header from Baillie. It breaks here for Afkos. It had the power but not the direction in the end from Jamie Afkos. A better spell at the moment from the Stallions. They need a goal. Jamie Afkos has had a hard time of it tonight up against Elias Augerinos. Zoric. Kohler just too strong for Tomo, really. Owens with the layoff. Fallen short. Packer dispossessed. Halpin goes all the way back to the goalkeeper, Clint Bolton. Krešimir decides there might be some change in closing down the goalkeeper there. Sometimes the strikers don't bother chasing those balls Paul Wade, but after the evidence at the end of that first half, perhaps Trajanovski thinking he can get something out of Clint Bolton.
Well, the options are very far between when it comes to the fact that Marconi have got the ball. He always seems to have his back towards goal in this game, and Chris Trajanovski makes some beautiful runs where he can receive it running towards the goal. So maybe that's something that they might be able to work on during the week, himself and Norm Tomei.
Mistake from Costanzo, Augerinos, Greg Owens, Aceski, Cardozo has forced it in. The goal will stand. Pablo Cardozo, his second of the evening. Aceski's been hurt, but that, you would imagine, has set things up for Sydney Olympic. A rapier-like thrust from Sydney Olympic. The mistake from Costanzo proved crucial. Augerinos, aware of the possibilities. The first save from Aceski was an excellent one, but the rebound fell for Cardozo and the ball bundled into the back of the net.
Well, we're talking about what it takes to play in finals. There was one mistake there from Angelo Costanzo that opened it all up. The other, and as we've already mentioned, is the work rate of Pablo Cardozo. Two features of that goal that separate normal games to finals football when there's so much on the line.
Sydney Olympic very, very hungry indeed on this evidence. It hasn't been the best of months going into the final series for Olympic, but they have risen to the occasion. David Aceski still feeling the effects of that challenge by Pablo Cardozo, but there's no doubt about the legitimacy of the goal. Well, Andy Harper, when you go into a final series, you want your big game players to lift, and Olympic have got just that from the likes of Cardozo and Halpin and many others.
Yeah, we've talked about that, but a lot of their attack is coming from the fact that the markers at the back, Kohler and Scott Baillie, are doing such good jobs on the Marconi front men, getting a leg in front, sticking a foot in and winning the ball. And from that platform, Olympics' counter-attacks have been pretty swift and efficient, and that third goal was a great example of it. Unfortunate mistake from Angelo Costanzo, and he makes them about as often as you find $3 notes around the joint. But unfortunately, in the big games, they're the ones that count, and really Marconi with 3 goals in arrears are going to do it very difficult from here. It's a case of not conceding any more. They can avoid it from this game and get back to their home patch next week and seeing if they can turn the tables, but really the task is all against them now.
Well, a change to be made now by Eddie Krešimir, his second of the game, and it's an early mark for Chris Trajanovski, who has had a hard time of it this evening against the likes of Scott Baillie and Ante Juric, and Royce Brownlee comes on for mission possible, really. Marconi looking for goals from this man, Royce Brownlee. Trajanovski and Tomei so far haven't been able to find them. Let's see what a bit of youthful enthusiasm can do for the Stallions. Half an hour remaining for Marconi to pull something out of the fire. Referee Mark Shield having a word there to Vlado Zoric and saying, we'll have no more back chat from you, young man. Well, frustration really from a lot of these Marconi players when the ball's just not bouncing your way, when the 50-50s are going against you, when the rebounds are all falling towards the opposition. Yeah, level of frustration tends to grow, and we've seen signs of it from Marconi. But what they need now, Paul Wade, most of all, is some cool heads, really.
They do. You lose focus when you're in a situation like this. The momentum is very hard to arrest from this Sydney Olympic side. They've got so many runners coming from midfield and defence. And you're right, it needs a cool head. Somebody who can take the sting out of Sydney Olympic whilst giving them a fair chance at getting to the other end.
It's been a tough day at the office for the Marconi defence, marshalled by Angelo Costanzo. Augerinos, and the block from Afkos was just enough to deny Augerinos in his shooting stride. Clint Bolton taking plenty of time on the ball. No signs of admonishment from Branko Čulina when Clint Bolton dwells on the ball. He's a very good player with the ball at his feet, there's no doubt about that. Began his career as a striker in Bundaberg in Queensland, Clint Bolton. To this day, wonders whether he made the right decision in going between the posts. Brownlee. Free kick to Marconi. The challenge from Brownlee on Brownlee by Baillie. I'll get it right in a moment. Earns Marconi an opportunity. Some 25 metres from goal. Brendan Renault. Renault low and hard, and a difficult bounce for Clint Bolton in the end. Cleared by Scott Baillie. Clint Bolton down at his near post. The ball bounced awkwardly in front of him. Renault has the throw. Looking for Longo. Augerinos concedes the corner. Mark Babic makes his way into the penalty area for Marconi. Greg Owens back helping out his defence. Cardozo and Marušić up on the halfway line for Marconi as Bolton fists the ball to the edge of the box. Kohler eventually gets it up the park. Here's a chance for Olympic, but Greg Owens just couldn't get control of the ball. Gibson. Only doing well, but Halpin getting through a power of work for Sydney Olympic. Packer long looking for Marušić. Costanzo in quickly for Marconi. He continues his run forward. Bit of space now on that right-hand side for Afkos. Crosses early towards the back post. Renault gets there above two Sydney Olympic defenders. And some questions may be asked there by the likes of Scott Baillie and Clint Bolton. How did Brendan Renault get his head to that ball?
I don't think Brendan Renault believed that he was going to get anywhere near that. He just thought he'd run. He was almost putting his head down as if to say, well, Baillie might hit me here. And maybe that's the reason why it hit the top of the stand rather than the back of the net.
Good strong jump by Babic. Babic again. Zoric. Out-muscled by Halpin, who tries to chip the keeper from a difficult angle and some 30 metres out from goal. That is a sign of confidence from Troy Halpin. Costanzo goes over the top. Baillie with the body gets in front of Brownlee. Tome brings it down. Longo trying to play it in towards Zoric, intercepted by Packer. Well, Olympic doing it comfortably at the moment. It's a matter of damage control really for Marconi.
Yeah, I'm trying to think why maybe Eddie hasn't moved Angelo Costanzo out of that sweeping role, and I think that might be the reason, because 3-0 is still a gettable result at home. All you need is one. The confidence lifts next week. But if you take Angelo Costanzo out of the sweeper's role, put him in midfield, you just get the feeling Pablo Cardozo and company might carve them up.
Well, Troy Halpin there, protesting his innocence, and he might have had a case as he went for the ball. Free kick though to Marconi. And it comes once again from Brendan Renault towards the back post. Augerinos. There's the danger momentarily. Renault with the corner. Had plenty of corners tonight, Marconi, but they haven't been able to make much out of them. Owens clips it down the line, and look at the space here for Cardozo. Marušić checks off to make some space for himself, picked out by a superb pass from Cardozo. Marušić looking for Juric, who's made the run forward. Longo was first to the ball. And Troy Halpin again getting in where it hurts for Olympic. Augerinos with the shot, free kick taken quickly. But what an all-round performance this has been from Troy Halpin tonight. We know about his ability on the ball, we know about the range of his passing, we know about his dead ball attributes. What we see less of, Paul Wade, is getting the boot in there, the dirty work if you like, and he's done so much of that tonight. He's really risen to the occasion in every department.
Some players at the highest level need another reason to go out there and perform even higher to achieve what they should be doing every week. And Troy Halpin's injury and the talk about it all week has probably had him more focused for this game than he would have normally been. So that's probably a lot of the reason why he's actually performing well, like I've not seen him perform in a long, long time at the moment.
And a tough baptism for the likes of Grant Last in their first finals appearance. So too Greg Owens, who at least is enjoying the moment more, being on the winning side at the moment. "20 minutes remaining. Packer, Costanzo with his body on the line. Renault. Challenge came from Packer. Dominic Longo, they're just looking for movement. A long time coming. Costanzo. Gibson. Tomei. Brownlee. Lovely skills from Brownlee. Still going, Brownlee. And in the end, a little bit unfortunate not to earn a corner, but that is more like it from Marconi. They need to find a source of inspiration. Perhaps it will come from Royce Brownlee. Someone's got to put their hand up. Nice turn by Royce Brownlee. And in the end, just a bit unlucky with the rebound.
The hardest thing to do in a game like this, from Marconi's point of view, is to talk yourself into running until that final whistle goes. I think there's a few players out there who have given up the ghost for tonight. They've got another chance next weekend, but for tonight, I think they've just gone to hide.
And the goalkeeper, Aceski, coming outside the area to make the challenge. Packer has stayed down, he's been hurt. Andy Packer. He's in a fair bit of pain. Still Olympic on the ball. Cardozo. Owens finally puts the ball over the line, or does he? And a chance now for Packer to receive some treatment, flattened there by the goalkeeper, David Aceski. And it is the left leg, perhaps just under the knee there. Andy Packer. Wow, that was an awful collision between Aceski and Packer. And he may have been opened up there around the knee, Andy Packer. Rather unfortunate. A stretch has been called for. David Aceski just with eyes for the ball. He was outside the area.
Tonight's match is 5,154.
No hard feelings between Aceski and the Sydney Olympic players, but it may be the last piece of action for Andy Packer this evening. Damon Collina getting set to come on, and Packer goes off on a stretcher with some bandaging around that left knee. Be a rather nasty gash. He's in a fair bit of pain, there's no doubt about that. So tough luck for Andy Packer as Collina comes off the bench to plug the gap. Renault with the throw. Now it's Longo.
Substitution made by Sydney Olympic. Number 17, Elias Augerinos, is replaced by
Juric. Oh, so in fact, Elias Augerinos has gone off for Sydney Olympic. In the middle of all that, and Renault makes a run. We'll just stay with the run of Brendan Renault here. Baillie clears. Goutzioulis, Juric, Olympic at the moment down to 10 men. Here's Collina.
I think Branko was buying a bit of thinking time there. He already knew in his own mind he was going to take Augerinos off and put Damon Collina on, but he just didn't quite know how he was going to change everything else, so just bought himself 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever it was.
substitution.
Now Olympic back to their full complement of players.
Replaced by number 22, Peter Zorbas.
And it's Peter Zorbas who comes on for his 50th appearance in the National League. Goes on to that left-hand side. Now Collina has pushed wide right where Packer was playing for Sydney Olympic. Last. Tomei. Juric. Here's Renault. Brendan Renault, entitled to shoot. Goes away for a throw-in. Hasn't been Brendan Renault's night. We're used to seeing him getting up and down the line, Paul Wade, but it's been a tough ask against Packer, who of course has now gone off the field. He's really been forced to start from quite deep to try and control Andy Packer's forward runs, if you like. Juric. Brownlee has his shot charged down.
I often think that these wide midfield roles, very psychological battles, and I think Brendan Renault was psychologically tuned into defensive work rather than because of the total domination of Sydney Olympic. And I can understand why he wasn't going forward so much, because he dared for getting caught on the counter attack so quickly.
Clint Bolton makes the save there at the feet of Norman Tomei. 12 minutes remaining. It's 3-0 for Sydney Olympic in the first leg of the elimination semi-final. Game 2 played next Sunday night at Marconi Stadium, and of course we'll be bringing you that one here on T7 as well. Another change, and the last one to be made by Eddie Krešimir and Norman Tomei up against his old club. Couldn't find the opportunities he was looking for, and Sasha Radulovic comes on for the Stallions. They really do look like a beaten side, though, at the moment, Andy Harper, Marconi.
Look, it is. Eddie's trying to play a card that will give some sort of spark to his team. He's changed one midfielder and two strikers now. And apart from having a couple of glimpses where they've had some reasonable possession, they haven't really threatened. An Olympic, if anything, would look more like falling on their own sword rather than Marconi doing them much damage. But a very impressive performance from Olympic so far. And Marconi clearly the second best side on the night, and they've got a lot of work to do in the next 7 days to turn it around.
Sydney Olympic going into the final series in 5th place. Olympic have had the wood on Marconi in their 2 previous beatings this season as well, so they were very much the favourites going into tonight's contest. That's exactly how it's panned out. Zorin, Gibson. Collina will get there in front of Juric. Happy to see that one over the sideline. The throw goes to Olympic. Inside is Goutzioulis. Kohler clears. No pressure on Longo. Renault. And it's going to be a free kick to Marconi. That is the sort of area we're used to seeing Brendan Renault occupy, hitting the byline at speed. It's what he does best. Perhaps he fancies his chances against the type of opponent in Damon Collina. Renault has the free kick. Played low and hard towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Maurice Brownlee unable to turn it towards the goal. But Andy Harper, you know Brendan Renault as well as anyone. Have you got the feeling that he's perhaps not backing himself as much as he once did in terms of getting forward and hitting the byline?
Well, I think your wide players, if you play with a 5 across midfield or 5 across the back, they're key players, but they're only effective if the side's going well. You make a lot of runs as a wide player and often don't get the ball, and that's a function of your midfield not having the momentum and your whole team not having the momentum and not being able to get the better of your opponents and release your wide players. Brendan Renault's as good as anyone getting down his particular flank, the left-hand side, and whipping in dangerous crosses, but there needs to be a regular supply for him to do that. And for him to want to take the chance to get into those aggressive positions, he needs to feel confident that the ball has been secured.
Brownlee's done well, but the cross was disappointing. Huge kick there by Clint Bolton. Costanzo helps it on its way to his own goalkeeper, but it's at the wrong end of the park for Marconi. 8 minutes remaining. They're trailing by 3 goals to 0. Facing a whitewash here at Belmore. Owens gets inside Longo with ease. Still going, Greg Owens. And just offside. And that far side was Krešimir Marušić.
I think it's worth noting that Branko Collina's decision to play the home leg first has worked out to be a good one. He can go now next weekend to Marconi Stadium. His players have got a great deal of confidence. There's no pressure on them. The home fans that are normally really aggressive and demand success here might be a little bit less inclined to do so away from home. So all in all, it's been a terrific decision for Branko, who just so happens today to become the longest serving coach at Sydney Olympic.
Halpin has the free kick for the home team. Juric is in there, so too Damon Collina. But it's dropped short to Brendan Renault. He goes long looking for Radulovic. He had to check to try and control the ball. Olympic are in quickly. is Cardozo. Sweet pass out wide by Cardozo. Juric has stayed forward. And Zorbas just can't get the ball under control. Check there by Cardozo on Costanzo. Kohler wins it in the air above Sasha Radulovic. Here's Longo. Gibson. Gibson's done well to make the space. Baillie got there above Brownlee. Here's Brendan Renault. Chance for the shot. Maybe one touch too many from Brendan Renault. The opportunity presented itself. And Olympic once again clear their lines. Marconi really did take a poor record here at Belmore into the game. They haven't won at this round since 96-97. So it's always going to be a tall order for the Stallions to get something out of the game as Renault looks to make more of an impact in the final period of the match. Yes, Olympic having the wood on Marconi here at Belmore in recent years. That trend has continued tonight. Gibson whips it into the near post, an easy clearance for Peter Zorbas. That is good play by Marušić as well to open up the room for Zorbas, but Brendan Renault held ground. So it's looking good for Sydney Olympic here at Belmore Oval. And it's probably looking pretty good for Perth Glory as well. They're up against the Knights, of course, in the other elimination semi-final being played tonight down at Summer Street in Melbourne. And we can bring you the final score from Summer Street, and it's Melbourne Knights 0, the Perth Glory 0. And Paul Wade, I would imagine that will, I don't know if it'll delight Bernd Stanger, but it will certainly satisfy him, that scoreline.
Jamie Holwell, apparently Michael was sent off in that game for 2 very ordinary tackles, got him 2 yellow cards, so you can imagine the euphoria rolling round the Perth Oval. A result like that down at 10 men.
Troy Halpin enthusiastic to the end as Marušić makes way in the dying stages here. And a warm round of applause from the Belmore Gallery for Marušić. Here comes young Dylan Macallister for a brief taste of finals football, his first. And the 2 young Socceroos, they're last in Macallister in new acquaintances. Costanzo chips the free kick in towards the back post. Here's Owens. Baillie trying to play it in towards Cardozo. Well, Troy Halpin will last the 90 minutes. And that will do his match fitness a world of good. as Olympic contemplate the second leg at Boston Park next weekend. Brownlee, Juric. Well, the last throw of the dice perhaps for Marconi. The dying stages. The free kick whipped in early, and it's been forced home by John Gibson. Clever play by Marconi. Olympic have conceded at home. That may put a slightly different complexion on the return leg next weekend. Johnny Gibson didn't give up the ghost. Brendan Reno whipped it into the danger zone, and Gibson throwing himself at the ball. He got there in front of Zorbas and Andy Harper. I wonder how much that will matter in a week's time.
Well, it certainly sets the next week up. That changes the complexion, if not dramatically, certainly to give us a lot to think about through the next 7 days. Marconi haven't played well tonight, but a great piece of quick thinking from Reno. Beautiful cross, and Johnny Gibson, Johnny on the spot, as it were, to get the crucial away goal to really set up next week's tie. And that's unsettled the party here for Olympic. They've looked very convincing tonight, and a lapse in concentration with a couple of minutes to go has really blemished their copybook. And the scene is set for Marconi Stadium next week. Exactly what Eddie Krešimir would have wanted to get out of a pretty dour performance is that away goal. And here we go, 7 days until the return leg. We'll look forward to it.
Johnny Gibson, as his habit, refusing to give up the cause, and that goal may well be worth its weight in gold. We shall see. Olympic will be disappointed with themselves for conceding so late in the game. A game that they really have dominated from start to finish. And perhaps the scoreline doesn't reflect their superiority. Credit to Marconi, who are still going as we head into injury time. Babic. Afkos, last. Lofted in by Babic, one in the air by Gibson. Collina clears. There's Reno. And Reno getting past Damon Collina, and the shot takes a deflection. Bolton gets there just in front of Royce Brownlee as the rain starts to tumble here at the Belmore Oval. Back pass cleared by Clint Bolton over the sideline. He's been beaten tonight, Clint Bolton, by that goal from John Gibson, and he wasn't happy about it by any means. We're keen to keep a clean sheet.
Sending a light or ignoring or discharging any type of object, including fireworks, signals or smoke, is strictly prohibited. Offenders will be arrested and charged. We thank you for your cooperation.
Macallister, Costanzo, Gibson, Zadulovic, Costanzo, still going Costanzo. And the call came from Clint Bolton that was left by Paul Kohler. And all of a sudden, Olympic looking rather unsettled, having been in control for virtually the entire game. Aceski. Puts the ball up the park. Is Juric. Gibson again. And Johnny Gibson was allowed to shoot there by Sydney Olympic, who have undoubtedly gone off the boil in the last 5 minutes or so. John Gibson has scored once, trying his luck there from some 25 metres out from goal. Well, Sydney Olympic take a 2-goal cushion into the return leg of the elimination final, but that late goal from John Gibson may have changed the complexion of this contest. Branko Čulina, the Olympic coach, has a look which says it all, really. They were doing it easy, Sydney Olympic, until Gibson popped up right at the end. Olympic caught napping, really, defensively. The free kick quickly taken by Brendan Reno, and perhaps some gloss taken off the performance as far as Sydney Olympic are concerned. 2 goals from Pablo Cardozo, and a delightful free kick from Krešimir Marušić did the damage for Olympic, but plenty to play for in the return leg. The full-time score in the first leg of the elimination final: Sydney Olympic 3, Marconi Stallions 1. So Pablo Cardozo continuing his rich vein of form in front of goals, with a goal on each half. Marušić with the free kick, but they had other chances, Olympic, and they did convert them. We'll go down to the sideline now with Paul Wade.
Thank you very much, Mike. Yes, down on the sideline, a man who led from the front today, Troy Halpin. Troy, what a victory. I mean, you needed that, all 3 points, or the victory in this one, to ease a little bit of pressure next week.
Yeah, I mean, obviously giving the goal away at the end wasn't the ideal scenario for us. 3-0 up. You go into the second leg, you're very confident, but I still think we played very well tonight until probably the last 20, so yeah, we've just got to go out next week and do the same thing.
And what about your form? There was talk about you going overseas, you were injured. Where did it all come from? I thought you played an inspired game today.
No, I think people maybe got a bit nervous with us coming out of the finals. Our results weren't too good. I've been out for a couple of weeks and haven't been able to train, so I guess the rumours fly about. I was never leaving the club, and I'm here till we win the grand final.
It's going to be a tough job to keep your feet on the ground for the next weekend.
Yes and no. I mean, obviously Branko will work on the things that we did wrong at the end of the game, and we'll come out next week and start the game the way we started tonight.
Thanks very much for your time.
No worries, mate.
Troy Halpin did a terrific job. Well, John Gibson also joins us, looking a little bit dejected, Don. I guess absolutely nothing went right tonight.
Yeah, we were totally outplayed tonight. Olympic played very, very well. Apart from the last quarter of an hour, 20 minutes, we did okay, but it was shambles tonight, and we were pretty ordinary.
You got that goal at the end. That could end up being a very valuable goal.
Yeah, definitely. We needed a slim hope there, and I'm glad I got a goal, but we just got to go back to the basics and work hard and come out next week firing.
Good on you. Thanks very much. John Gibson looking a little bit disappointed, Andy Harper, and I suppose he should, because tonight was not good enough, really.
Well, disappointed. His teammates are disappointed too, and it wasn't a great performance from Marconi, but that would be to take away from Sydney Olympic. I thought they were outstanding tonight. They didn't let Marconi into the game at any stage until, of course, the last 4 minutes, and if ever a game summed up a season, it was probably tonight. I think Olympic looked fantastic for large parts of the game, and then just got the wobbles a little bit towards the end to let Marconi back into the game, which has sort of summed up their season. You know, they had a great start to the season, did fabulously well, and just a little wobbly in the last couple of rounds, but they look to have got that sorted out now, and they'll give this a real shake from here.
Well, let's hope so. It's going to be a great game next weekend. But later on this evening, we've got another replay for you. This one, the Melbourne Knights against the Perth Glory, and that's from Knights Stadium. That is on C7 Blue at 11:30. And then next weekend, starting on Friday, we're up at Wollongong for the Wollongong South Melbourne game at Wynn Stadium. That's live at 7:30. And then on Saturday night, we go to the Perth Oval to see Perth Glory do the battle with the Melbourne Knights. Won't that be an absolute thriller? And then on Sunday, Marconi against Sydney Olympic, the reverse of tonight's game. So we look forward to your company later on this evening and next week. But until then, from the Belmore Sports Ground, we wish you a very good night.
Great effort there. The crowds come to life. And he's done it. What a goal!
This has been a C7 Sport production.